Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in the fight for truth and freedom, listen up, because I'm done tiptoeing around the festering sore that's poisoning our discourse. I'm talking about the relentless, obsessive Jew hatred peddled by frauds like Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, and their pathetic band of followers, the Groypers. If you don't know what a Groyper is, there you go. This isn't just morally bankrupt, it's intellectually bankrupt. It's not only destructive, it's downright dull. The same tired conspiracies, the same scapegoating, recycled from the dark ages straight to your local social media feeds. Enough. It's time to call these grifters out for what they are. Desperate opportunists chasing clout and cash. And it's time to tell them flat out, find another bad guy. Jews aren't your enemy, and your fixation on them isn't edgy, it isn't insightful, it's yawn-inducing and a relic that exposes your failures. Let's start with the facts, because substance matters, and these people thrive on lies. Antisemitism isn't some fresh revelation. It's the oldest hatred in the book, responsible for pogroms, expulsions, and the Holocaust, which they deny, where 6 million Jews were systematically murdered not because of what they did, but because of who they were. And today, it fuels attacks on synagogues, stabbings in the streets, and on the October 7th massacre by Hamas, where 1,200 innocents were slaughtered in Israel. There's several dozen of them that are still held captive. You never hear them talk about them. Yet here comes Owens, Fuentes, and the Groypers blaming Jews for every ill under the sun, from wars to economic woes to cultural decay. Why? Because it's easy. It requires no fundamental analysis, no grappling with complex global threats, like the Chinese Communist Party's espionage or radical Islam's terrorism. It's lazy scapegoating, and it's boring because we've heard it all before. Blood libels in medieval Europe, protocols of the Elders of Zion forgeries in the 20th century, and now digital memes spewing the same venom. Grow up. Evolve. Find a real villain. Like the corrupt bureaucrats in Washington who sell out America daily, or the tech overlords censoring free speech. But no, you fixate on Jews because it's a crutch for your inadequacies. As Andrew Klavan powerfully argues in his essay, Antisemitism is the Devil's Flagpole, this hatred isn't just about Jews. It's a profound indicator of evil's presence, a rejection of the God of Abraham incarnate within Jesus Christ, and a rebellion against the Jewish roots of Western Christian values. Klavan writes that anti-Semitism is the devil's flagpole. It always marks the place where evil dwells, and that anti-Semites are desperately trying to expel Christ from their sinful hearts and minds by using Jews as a proxy. This spiritual rot explains why these charlatans cloak their venom in pseudo-Christian rhetoric. It's not faith. It's a perversion that betrays the very foundations of our civilization. And let's dismantle this biblical distortion these hate mongers twist to justify their bile, because they love cherry-picking verses like John 8:44, Matthew 27:25, and 1 Thessalonians 2:14 through 16 to slander Jews as eternal enemies. From a Catholic perspective, Candace, you might need to take some notes on this. Grounded in the Church Magisterium and Vatican II's Nostra Aetate, these interpretations are not only heretical, they're weapons of the devil himself, rejected outright by the Church about sins against God. Take John 8:44, where Jesus tells a group of argumentative Jews, "You belong to your father, the devil." Anti-Semites like Fuentes scream this is proof that the Jews are inherently evil. But the Catholic Church teaches that this is a gross misuse. As Pope Francis emphasized in his 2024 letter to the Jews of Israel, the Church rejects every form of anti-Judaism and anti-Semitism, unequivocally condemning manifestations of hatred towards Jews and Judaism as a sin against God. This verse is a first-century intra-Jewish polemic. Jesus, a Jew himself, something that I think Candace and Fuentes might be very uncomfortable with, addresses specific opponents who rejected him, not condemning the entire people. Modern exegesis shows it's about spiritual blindness, not ethnic damnation, and its historical abuse by figures like Luther and the Nazis don't make it Catholic truth. It's been weaponized to fuel hatred, but the Church demands context to prevent such evil. Jews aren't the children of the devil. It's the lie anti-Semites tell to mask their demonic impulses. Then there's Matthew 27:25, the so-called blood curse, where the crowd says, "His blood be on us and our children." Owens and her ilk peddle this as an eternal Jewish guilt for deicide. But the Catholic Church obliterates that lie. Nostra Aetate declares plainly, what happened in his passion cannot be charged against all the Jews, without distinction, then alive, nor against the Jews of today. Pope Benedict XVI explained, "It's not a curse but a prophecy of redemption. Christ's blood brings salvation for all, not vengeance on one group." The Catechism adds that all sinners crucified Christ through our sins, and Christians, knowing him yet betraying him, bear even greater guilt. Blaming Jews collectively? That anti-Semitic garbage the Church decries as hatred and persecution, forbidding in preaching and catechesis. It's a manipulated crowd in a Roman trial, not a divine indictment. Romans executed him, and humanity's sin nailed him to the cross. Your twisted reading isn't Catholic, Candace. Your twisted reading isn't Catholic, Nick. It's a betrayal of Christ's infinite love. Finally, 1 Thessalonians 2:14-16, where Paul accuses the Jews of killing Jesus, the prophets, and opposing the gospel, saying wrath has come upon them. Groypers wave this as proof of divine rejection, but even here, the Church and sound exegesis crush the anti-Semitic spin. Paul, a Jew himself, refers to specific first-century Judean opponents who persecuted early Christians. Not all Jews eternally. The wrath likely points to the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, an historical judgment already fulfilled, not an ongoing curse. Nostra Aetate affirms Jews were not rejected or accursed by God, and the Church shares a sacred patrimony with them. Abraham's call, the Old Testament, the covenant. Paul wasn't anti-Semitic. He wept for his kin and preached salvation to the Jews first. Your blanket denunciations that are fundamental apostasy, decried by the Church as displays of hatred that Christ himself would condemn. Of course, take Candace Owens, the self-proclaimed conservative darling turned professional provocateur. Look, this woman built her brand on grifting, peddling outrage for donations and book sales, while cozying up to anti-Semites like Kanye West, who rant about Jewish control. She defended as not anti-Semitic at all. She was fired from the Daily Wire in 2024 for wading deeper into these waters, criticizing Israel for October 7th in ways that echoed age-old tropes about Jewish power and loyalty. And now, she's facing a defamation lawsuit from the French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte, filed in July 2025, accusing her of a year-long smear campaign claiming Brigitte is secretly a man. The Macrons are suing her into the ground, potentially bankrupting her and her companies. That's not bravery. It's stupidity. Owens isn't a truth teller, okay? She's a liability, spreading baseless conspiracies that harm real people while padding her pockets. Why would anyone take her seriously? She's not fighting for conservatism. She's fracturing it, alienating alliances in the Jewish community who stand against leftist tyranny. Candace, your Jew hatred isn't revolutionary, okay? It's regressive and boring. Find another target like the actual radicals grooming kids in schools or the globalists eroding barriers. Leave the Jews alone. Then there's Nick Fuentes, the ultimate fraud. A grifting closet case hiding behind a facade of America first while spewing calls for a holy war against Jews and denying the Holocaust ever happened. This guy's been documented promoting white nationalist garbage, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about the Jewish control of media and government, and even dining with Kanye West and Donald Trump in 2022, dragging the conservative movement into his sewer. Fuentes isn't a leader. He's a parasite, bilking young, impressionable followers for donations through his Groyper Army, a loose network of online trolls. He masks their racism and antisemitism as Christian conservatism. Let's be clear. There's nothing Christian about hating an entire people, as Clavin's thesis underscores. It's the devil waving his flag, signaling a heart hardened against Christ's teachings. Fuentes has been exposed time and again by the ADL, by fellow conservatives, by Milo Yiannopoulos as a dangerous extremist whose views lead to real-world violence, like the synagogue shootings inspired by similar rhetoric. And the rumors? Whispers of his hypocrisy, preaching traditional values while allegedly living a double life. No wonder he's obsessed with projection. Nick, your act is tired, your hatred is boring, and your influence is waning because people see through it. You're not saving America, you're sabotaging it. Pick a real enemy, like the fentanyl cartels killing our kids or the woke corporations pushing division. Jews aren't plotting against you. They're building families, businesses, and nations just like the rest of us. Then there's the Groypers. Don't get me started with these keyboard warriors, led by Fuentes into a cult of memes and malice. They're not activists. They're agitators, infiltrating conservative events to troll with racist dog whistles, promoting white nationalism under the guise of patriotism. Groups like the ADL, which I have issues with, but they're correct here, have chronicled their antics. Anti-Semitic rants, Holocaust denial, and attempts to hijack the right with their poison. They claim to be the future of conservatism, but they're its cancer, dividing us when we need unity against threats like socialism and censorship. Their America First is a sham. It's hate first. And it's boring because it is the same supremacist drivel that's failed everywhere it's been tried, from Nazi Germany to modern failed states. Groypers, your memes aren't clever. They're cowardly. Step out from behind your screens and face reality. Your hatred isolates you, weakens our cause, and achieves nothing but self-destruction. Find another bad guy. Maybe the human traffickers at the border or the elitists in Davos. Jews have contributed immeasurably to America, from science to arts to our founding principles. Attacking them doesn't make you strong. It makes you small. This obsession with Jews isn't just annoying. It's a distraction from the real battles we face. It sows division in our ranks, empowers true enemies on the left, and stains the soul of our nation. Owens, Fuentes, Groypers, your time is up. We're not buying your grift anymore. Your hatred is boring. Your arguments are hollow, and your future is oblivion. Find another scapegoat, or better yet, look in the mirror and confront your own demons. The rest of us, let's reject these charlatans, stand united against the real threats, and build a stronger, freer America. Never again means never again, starting now. Thank you.